Are we live? Oh my God. Uh,
Yes.
wait, no. Yeah, we are live. We are live. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Patrick.
Hello, Jade. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing on this wonderful Wednesday? It's a Wednesday, right?
I'm okay. I've been taking my vitamins and I smoked less cigarettes and I ate healthy food and my insulin's in check. So all my personal bodily malfunctions are in order today. So I'm feeling pretty good
Malfunction.
today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I might be a zombie, but today I am alive and it's always great when you wake up and you're like, "Hey, I made it another day," right?
This is good news. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
usually I usually have that epiphany. I was sick for a while.
I heard you had like a sinus infection or some shit.
No, it was influenza.
It was the
Yeah.
flu. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it was like that nasty flu that's going around right now. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
been that sick in like 2 years, and I was just like, just dying. But okay, chat, what's up? Welcome. Good to see y'all here. This should be an interesting show. It's gonna be a mix of information and maybe emotions too. We'll get a little emotional. Patrick might cry.
I
He
might cry.
Yeah, he forced me to use StreamYard because he hates when I use Skype. So he said he was basically gonna like fly down to California and beat my ass if I didn't. Just-
Uh
no, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Okay, that's a
yeah.
joke.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, you're nowhere near like all those fires, right? Like you're super far away.
I'm far enough away, yeah, where we're not gonna get hurt. But I my power did go out for 5 days,
Yeah.
because of high winds that went on for
Yeah.
4 hours one day, and then they killed our power for 5 days. So
Yeah.
that was super cool.
Yeah.
Um,
My wife, my son, and my son's girlfriend all went to Disneyland last week, and I was supposed to go with
ooh,
them,
that's fun.
but my husky's sick, so I told him you guys still go because it's paid for, the hotel, the tickets, and the whatchamacallit, the accommodations, and like all the stuff's paid for. Like it was like $4,000 trip, right, for 5 days or whatever, because they
Yeah, that's
stayed
crazy.
they stayed on resort, which is even more expensive, right?
The pricing is insane
Yeah.
for sure.
And so I stayed home, but sure enough, the fires were happening, right? And by Thursday, I mean, I didn't share this with people because it's nobody's business, but I'll share it now because they're home safe. But it was Thursday night. I started messaging my wife saying, I want you guys out of that state. I know Disneyland is 25 miles away from where the fires were coming
Hmm.
into
Yeah.
LA by Hollywood and stuff. I was like, I know it's 25 miles away, but I want you guys to cut the trip short and come home. And she's like, we're safe, we're fine. I'm like, I'm not worried about you guys getting burned. I was like, with everyone evacuating and everything, it's gonna be a mess just getting on the highways and stuff and coming home. And it should have been like a 6 hour drive for them to get back to Phoenix. And it took them like 9 to 10 hours because there's so much traffic. There are
Yeah.
everyone's leaving the state. You know what I mean? It was crazy,
Yeah.
but they
Well,
got home safe.
they were in the Magic Kingdom, so they would have been
Yeah,
safe anyways. There's like a bubble over that, isn't there?
probably right. It was funny too, but so of course she didn't let. She's like, no, we're gonna stay until Saturday, and we're gonna drive home Saturday. But still, it took them 10 freaking out, like 9 10 hours to get here. So it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'm glad that they mostly got to have fun then, so that's good.
Oh,
But
they had a
yeah,
blast. They had a blast. And because
the
they were 26 miles away, they couldn't smell anything. They couldn't see anything. And
I'm
everyone had,
surprised. Like if you're
yeah,
that like 26 miles isn't that far when you're downwind from a fire in
yeah,
California, but but the air quality out there is so bad that every
hmm
time I go out there and then I'm out there for a day, I come home and my lungs actually hurt the next day. Like my throat hurts and my lungs hurt. Like the air quality is that bad.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy because out where I live, it's dusty, but it's not like it's very deserty, so it's not like
Yeah.
super saturated with crappy air. Real quick, Happy New Year from Jason, Little Alien. Glad to hear you're feeling better. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate the super chat. Very kind, and Happy New Year to you as well. Okay, Patrick, let's knock out the one of the big things that I want to get out of the way before we really get into the Media1up stuff and CES.
Mm-hmm.
And that is gonna be let me see if I can even
Is
do
this
this.
the community housekeeping portion?
The community housekeeping portion. Wait, is this this is wait. Oh yeah, okay. So here we go. Okay. So there we've got this here. All right. And this is something that I'm going to address because I'm tired of people not being fully honest or not telling the full truth or abiding by like what conversation agreements we have or whatever. But basically, Danny the cornercade was telling people that myself and Messiah, who some of you might know, were emailing his wife's work and trying to get her fired. And and Patrick, just for you to confirm, because Patrick was the one who reached out to me, letting me know. The initial story was that, and it was at least you said approximately like what 6 people who he had said it to start
Yeah, yeah.
in the beginning.
It was just on a like a voice call, that kind of
thing. So obviously, like when people do something like that, you tell people, and then more people tell other people, and it goes on, and so on and so forth. And so I told Patrick, I said, okay, please, reach out to him if you don't mind and ask him if he can provide evidence, and let's get on a video call together and discuss this because I want to see he can present his evidence to both of us. And what happened about an hour before we got on that call, Patrick?
Yeah, it's interesting, and just to backtrack a little bit, so with all the stuff coming out about Danny, and everyone knows that Danny and I friends. We've collaborated. We've collaborated recently in like the last few months, but we really haven't. We really didn't collaborate before that. We just kind of knew who each other were, but he's been working hard. He's really passionate. His YouTube channel's doing okay, and I like him, and so I've been collaborating with him a bit. And when I see the stuff happening in the community between him and some other people, it's kind of like it reminds me of a couple years ago when I was friends with Rex, right? And Rex and Michael B had beef, right? And when you're friends with and I like Jade, I've always respected Jade. Jade and I have talked on occasion behind the scenes, and we've done a few streams together. So it's kind of like you're stuck in the middle, right? Like there's two people who you like who have something going on, and you're like, I'm kind of stuck in the middle, right? That kind of thing. So, so talking to Danny and stuff, like, usually when this stuff happens, like I stay out of it, I usually talk to people behind the scenes. It was kind of funny. Some idiot accused me of giving Danny a free pass. And I was like, no, I didn't give Danny a free pass. When stuff started coming out about Danny and the GoFundMe and all that stuff, I did what I thought was right and talked to him behind the scenes. Like, hey, buddy, you know what I mean? Like, this is going on. This is what I'm hearing. And in my opinion, that's wrong. This is right. Like I talk to people behind the scenes. I don't like to do the big, controversial streams. I know people use the word drama, stuff like that. But anyway, so I reach out to Jade and I'm like, Jade, I heard something from Danny, and I found it to be off-putting, right? Like I heard it like a week ago, and I reached out to you for two reasons. Number one, to say, like, I understand. like criticizing the whole, like the GoFundMe and the stuff, and some of the stuff from his personal life that has come to the surface. Like, I totally understand like criticizing that or content on that. I said, but according to Danny, some people from your camp have gone the extra mile to send messages to her boss at her new place of employment, which, of course, the only reason why someone would do that would be to get her in trouble, embarrass her, get her fired, get her laid off, something of that nature. And in my opinion, that's going too far. And I reached out to you, Messiah. I was like, look, I was like, if this happened, that's not going to look good for anybody. Like, that looks bad. Like, and then you told me, you're like, hey, that didn't happen. We never did that. We wouldn't do that. So sure enough, you're like, and with everything else going on, because you have a number of issues with him pertaining to Arcade1Up and other things. And whatchamacallit, so you asked me, which I thought was very mature of you. You said, hey, how about we get out, you ask him if he wants to do a three-way call where I can be like the moderator or mediator, and you guys could just talk about all these things and figure out who did what and maybe come to a solution, right? That way we can put this community stuff to bed. Danny agreed to get on the call. I asked Danny, I was like, Danny, can you do me a favor, man? Can you send me this email that, you know, um, can you send me this email that Katie's boss received? You know what I'm saying? Can you send that over so we can figure out who sent the email and what's going on? And after some back and forth, we find out that this actually never occurred. So nobody reached out to Katie's boss. So I find that a little bit off putting. I'm a bit disappointed in Danny for that. I talked to him again today. I'm like, look, Danny, I understand. Speaking to you as a friend, you got people digging up your past, throwing it on the internet, and nobody wants that. I mean, Jade, you wouldn't want that to happen to you, and you don't want that stuff out there. You just want to make content on video games. But the best way to handle that situation is not to invent or exaggerate other stories. Does that make sense? Like in your defense, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's kind of what happened. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, so that's a that's the backstory. And yeah, about an hour before we got on stream, um
Well, on the
Danny,
call, the
or
conference call.
on the call, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
um Danny basically, pulled back and said that he that actually I made some notes here. So I believe this was his reply. When P Dubs asked, okay, so are you sure somebody actually called your work? And then Danny's reply was, she hasn't been contact on the matter from her boss, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. They could have tried and Katie's boss deleted it. That's all I know. I was told these things because of what was said on stream. The real issue here is that several streams have gone down giving wrong and misleading information on my life, which is a felony. um so yeah, I don't know what streams those are that have committed felonies, but it's interesting. P-Dub's reply just basically was like, okay, so nobody did. And then Danny's reply to that was, that's what I was told. Again, to me, this type of behavior is very it's like he's deflecting responsibility from the situation and not taking full accountability for what happened. So we got on our call, we talked about this, and I asked Danny to his face, why are you saying these things? And I just want to make it clear to everybody who's watching the stream and knows me and knows that I'm friends with Messiah, who is this guy, also a fellow veteran. But like, I don't tell Messiah what to do. I don't control him. I don't tell him, that he needs to do X, Y, or Z. Danny said something to me to the effect of, I unleashed Messiah. Like, he's not a dog, and he's not an attack dog or anything like that I use. He's just my friend. Um, so that's one thing I just want to address. Okay. So, I did ask Danny to address this properly and say that he lied because he did. He just flat out lied, which he admitted to in front of me and Patrick. He said he lied. Um, and I asked him to address it properly. And when I followed up with Patrick, he had told me that Danny had dropped into the Discord this picture that you guys see, which says, "Hey guys, looks like Sheline didn't call my wife's work. Sorry for the misunderstanding." Here's the thing, it's not a misunderstanding. Okay, it's a flat out lie. It's a made up, flat out confabulated lie. So that's like something that is I have a problem with, because it takes away a responsibility from the situation, which is you created a lie and you said it to multiple people, and then that goes around. Like I still have friends in the home arcade community. All right, big supporters like Ezekiel and other people who maybe we're both friends with. I don't go into my Discord lying about other people or saying things that aren't true. Um, and I find that like just very disheartening and kind of like disturbing that someone would do that. Um, I apologize. I'm going to bring this back up. 4.99 super chat from Prince Malcolm says, "Can confirm also that this gentleman also told a former NEON.Up VP that he was fired from Best Buy because of Messiah. We all thought it was his decision." Um, there's another one. So, going around and doing things like that is just
Yeah.
dishonest. It's as simple as that. Like there's no other take on it.
Well,
I
yeah.
never I
Well,
ne- well, I just
I
want to I'm
yeah. Go
sorry,
ahead. Go
just
ahead.
let me
Go ahead.
clear
Go
this
ahead.
up.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I never did that. I wouldn't do that. And Danny has also accused me on a live stream of emailing Arcade1Up about his usage of the N word, which made it so that he couldn't work with Arcade1Up. And I also confronted him about that, and he also said that that was like not true, but that he was told by Travis, MCP. And so I reached out to Travis and I said, I didn't believe what he said. And I reached out to Travis and I said, "Is this true? Did you tell Danny that I emailed Arcade1Up?" And Travis said no. And he actually showed me receipts I didn't even ask for. And then he said, "Everyone knows that Messiah emailed Arcade1Up," which rightfully so, I think, in that certain situation. And it was a public matter. It wasn't like something that was hidden. I had nothing to do with it. Um, so both of those were clarified, and Danny admitted in front of myself and Patrick that he lied. So um, those are the circumstances. So if you're hearing rumors circulating that I did something like that, it's not true. All right, it's simply just not true. I'm sorry,
The way
Patrick.
I
Go ahead.
the way I look at it is, let's say for instance, since we're doing kind of a on the table discussion here, as you guys know, I'm still friends with Mike, and as you guys know, Mike will be the Game Genie, and as you know, him and Rexer Show don't like each other. It would be like, if Michael B was like, Rex is picking on me. I wish the community would stick up for me. These are kind of things that Danny has requested of people. And if Mike came up to me and was like, "Hey, Rex messaged my wife," you know what I mean? Well, as a friend, you're going to be like, "Look, hey Rex, you end up throwing yourself in the middle when technically you should stay out of it, but sometimes you do. you put yourself in the middle. You're like, hey, this has gone too far if we're reaching out to people's wives or people's wives' employers, which is my intention of talking to you. Like this needs to stop. But then I find out, let's just say, and again, this is all hypothesis. You know, Mike lied. Like, what if Mike lied and Rex never did that? You know what I mean? Like, now the egg is on my face. Does that make sense? So, I know some people are going to be upset and think I'm throwing Danny under the bus. My only issue right now with Danny was he was dishonest about this thing, especially when I go out of my way to say, "Hey guys, let's figure this out. We shouldn't. This is going too far." Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
but minus that, you guys have beef. Trust me, I have beef with several YouTubers. There's several
I don't have
YouTubers that have
see, I don't have beef.
beef.
I don't
I
care.
know.
But when you lie about
Yeah.
if you lie about me, like a blatant made up lie saying that I did something kind of like really shitty and I didn't, like that's not okay. That's like my big problem. So it's like, I don't want an apology. I want it corrected. Period.
Well,
Um
he did apologize, and he said he would tell he would tell the people he told that it was not accurate, that it wasn't
no, that
accurate.
he said he would say it
Right.
was a lie.
Right. And
Um
you waited a couple days, and you're like, did he do it? And I DM'd Danny. I was like, Danny, did you tell anyone that that wasn't true information? And Danny came back, and Danny said, no, I haven't told anyone yet. I was, so you might want to like send him a DM or post it in their Discord or something. I figured he'd go the DM route. I didn't think he was going to post it in their Discord. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I
Like I
saw
figured he would
Fox
just,
say that he
you know,
could have made a community post, and
oh, yeah,
I just assumed like, okay, it's then he's gonna address it on his live stream, um,
yeah,
or he's gonna or he's going to make a community post or something.
yeah.
Um, so
But
I I just don't have time. Like this type of response, the hey guys, looks like Sheline didn't call my wife's work. Sorry for the misunderstanding. What misunderstanding? That kind of stuff is like gaslighting. Like there was no misunderstanding. Like you just straight up lied. Period. Okay. And Biggie D, thank you for announcing that I work for John D and Media1up
mhm.
for the second time here. And and good luck getting them on your live stream. Uh so also we have the secondary uh screenshot here. Let me see if this comes up. I wish I could like zoom in on these. Can you not do that? I don't think you can. But anyways, and then he goes on to like do the same thing. It was a misunderstanding about the arcade 1UP thing. And it wasn't. It wasn't. All right. None of this was a misunderstanding. I just want to clarify that. And Biggie, um, you know, I don't like, dude, you did a stream about this Danny stuff way before I did when it all came out. I waited until everybody else was done and I did a stream about it and talk from my experience and what I had seen. Um, so maybe like that's like pot calling the kettle black. You had a pretty nice big stream there. And then you want to say like I'm all about drama. Like I just don't take shit from people on here because I've had enough of it. Okay. So that's that. And then I'm just gonna address this. Still on this Danny Cornercade stuff. Who cares? Let's move on. This is almost another Zohar deal. Yeah. Remember what Zohar did? He lied. He completely made shit up, and it's the same exact thing Danny is doing. It's the same type of behavior, and people like you enable it. So you coming in here and doing that makes you look sus, and you look like an idiot. So fuck off and unsubscribe. Go somewhere else. Um, or just say your opinions that sound really stupid, and then I'm going to call you out. That's really all I have to say about that. Um, Okay. Anything
Yeah.
else? Any last words here, Patrick, before we move on?
No. I know you wanted to clear up that one thing, and I get that. The main reason I'm here and why we're doing this stream is you wanted to talk about the Media1up stuff, which you haven't had a chance to make a video or do a stream on and stuff like that. So yeah, I get all that, but I just it just sucks because there are this community is so full of cool, talented people. That includes you. That includes Danny. That includes all the YouTubers, modders in our communities, and just people who hang out to have fun. And it's just a shame that this stuff happens. That
Hmm.
and keep in mind too. Sometimes I get involved, or the drama's about me. I mean, sometimes I eat my popcorn on the side and see two other people going at it, right? And you know, it just it just sucks because we all really just want to have fun and have a fun community, right? So hopefully everyone can get back to that. You know what I mean? I know Danny did apologize to you several times on that conference call. Um and we'll see what happens next. So, but I mean, I'm ready to play games.
Yeah. I mean, or, just don't be a fuckface and stop lying about people. That's the way I feel about it. But I mean, I see your point as well.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. So, well, here we go. So Media1up. Okay. As you guys saw in the title, I work I work for Media1up. Um, I didn't know if anybody else knew this. I knew that Biggie D knew I worked for Media1up. Um, because that's what he announced uh on the Media1up page. And this is definitely something that I want to clear up with you guys about my employment status with Media1up. I think that that's a very important thing to share with you guys. Uh,
Wait, so it's true?
what's that?
It's true? You work for Media1up?
Well, hold on. Let me pull this up real quick. And we're gonna go take a look at this. We're gonna go take a look at this. We're gonna figure this out together, Patrick. Okay.
All right.
Um. Oh my God. Phone's going bonkers. Uh. So I mean, as you guys know, Media1up is an LLC owned by John D. And John D is currently collaborating with Iconic Arcade to get the Street Fighter cabinets out. It's a neat little project. And you know, that's what he's doing. That's what Media1up is. But I'm gonna pull this up and I'm gonna show you guys a little something here. Okay. There's this
So
video
who is
clip.
John D? For those of you,
Is that showing up in here? All right, there we are.
Yep, I see it.
There is this video clip that's on the Media1up page that I made. It was done by me. It was produced by me. And down here, if we scroll down and we get into these comments right here, we can see see Biggie D right here. Sheline works at Media1up now also. That's awesome. And and then Media1up's response is LOL, whatever, bro. I don't know if this is sarcasm or what.
Yeah.
And by the way, thank you for being so ambiguous, John. Um, but Biggie, when you say things like this, that's how rumors get started. Now, if anybody actually knew what this was, where this video was from, I did not produce this for John. Okay, this is actually from a video that I made. Um, about Street Fighter, and I'm gonna show you guys that right now. Uh, and if you yeah, so here's the video that I
Ah,
made of
yes, the
Oh,
Street
golden
Fighter.
age of
you
fighting
have to mute
games.
hit that mute button there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah.
So here's the video that I made about Street Fighter. And what it is I had reached out to John to ask him a few questions. And I was explaining who John D is for people who don't know, because like not everybody is going to know who John D is. But here it is. You can see in the video the clip, and John had just clipped that and used it on his Media1up page, which is totally fine because I had reached out to him and asked him a couple questions that I put in this video. So I had made this, I had produced this for my own video, and that's where it came from. I don't work for Media1up. I don't work for Media1up. Like, I just want to make sure everybody can hear what I'm saying. Don't spread rumors, okay? Like, I don't understand why people do stuff like this. Let me pull this up real quick. Big time super chat, $20 super chat from Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger. Great guy, huge channel supporter from pretty much from day one. Hey Jade and Airdubs, happy to see you both. All this is unfortunate, yes, and being in the middle sucks. This community is supposed to be a cool place where we talk about games, not drama. I'm here for you, Jade, always have been. Very much appreciate that, Ezekiel. And that is very true. And I really, really appreciate that. Can't say thank you enough. So let's see. And then Jason Little Alien gifted some free memberships here, which we can see who some of our lurkers are. Some not.
Maybe
not,
he was just
not.
giving memberships.
Akuma Rev was in here. But what's up, Rev, by the way? I saw your comment, sorry. But anyways, let's see. Oh, and then Kevin gifted a couple. So yeah. But anyways, very much appreciate the super chat, Ezekiel. Thank you. And because of Ezekiel, I now have an Evercade to play Evercade games on, and I'm excited to like talk more about that. We'll talk about it a little bit because I know that you do Evercade stuff, Dub. So I want to get your feedback too.
Occasionally.
But thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so let's see.
Brooklyn, can someone start a rumor that he works for Meta? He might be, because Meta should hire you, Brooklyn, because of you. It was pointed out to me by my spouse, Melissa, how much I spent on VR games this month. That's all I can say.
Ouch.
It was pointed out to me. I'm like, look, it was the first month. I went a little nuts. I might only add 1 or 2 games moving forward. It was pretty funny though.
Dude, you know what? That reminds me, I have a huge VR library that I think was supposed to migrate because, you know, when Oculus or whatever it was went to Meta, they migrated like where you could download the games from. I still have to do that. I've had VR since like 2018, I think. I still have the same Oculus headset. It's not like the wireless one like they have now, but the VR is freaking fun, dude.
Well, what I would do, I'm glad you confirmed you don't work for Media1up. I think it's important that the community be aware that when it comes to YouTubers that are actual employees of what you might call one of these home arcade companies, the only company right now that has active YouTubers as actual employees is AtGames. That's it. AtGames has about 3 or 4 guys who their full-time job is they are employees of the company, but they also do YouTube on the side, right? That's it. Now, a lot of them will say words like, oh, I'm an independent contractor, because AtGames pays me via 1099 versus W-2. Although that's true from a legality standpoint, it's still their full-time job. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. That's their job, right? That's their full-time job is they're an At Games employee. So there's like 3 or 4 guys out there who are active YouTubers who are also employees. But when it comes to Media1up, Arcade1up, I can't think of anybody who's an actual employee who also does YouTube. Does that make sense? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't work for them. I never worked for Arcade1up either. That's another good one that's going around. Those kind of things are like the reason why I am not actively in the home arcade space, and part of the reason why I can't stand it. However, I do have friends and people who I support in there, like Arcades Anonymous, 19K Fox, not P-Dubs Arcade Loft, and who else? He didn't catch it.
No, I heard my name get dropped. I was gonna ignore it because they teach you ignore the drama, right? No,
yeah.
but
And then
and by the way, real quick, I hate to cut you off, but let me clarify one extra point. The fact that those guys are full-time employees with At Games as their full-time job to make a living and pay their bills and take care of their families is not a bad thing. As long as they're properly disclosing it on their YouTube, I'm totally cool with it. And everyone else should be as well, as long as it's being properly disclosed on every single video they make about an At Games product or even about a competing product. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So there you go.
What
Sorry.
about like GRS?
It's his company. Like,
No, I mean like people who work for GRS. So, like, what if you're shilling for GRS?
there's a difference between shilling and being employed.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that is true, but you know that whole argument.
I get you.
Okay, but yeah, and then Rascal's Basement Arcade is another good one, and Messiah, I don't know, is he really home arcade? I mean,
I don't know. I think he's more of a social commentary channel. Does that make sense? But
yeah,
he talks more about what's going on in social commentary about this community, right?
About the social dynamic of the home arcade. Yeah. So yeah, but anyways, you know, but I am not actively involved in the home arcade community anymore, because I don't like it. It's a very toxic, like disgusting environment. I don't like people. I don't like when people enable like all that like filthy behavior and whatnot. And I also don't like when, you know, people can just say whatever they want without any evidence, and then people believe them, and it's just it's crazy. It's wild to me. Anyways, but enough of that. We won't go back down that rabbit hole. I'm just clarifying. I do not work for Arcade1up. I do not work for Media1up. Ask
but you
Glenn.
work for My Arcade, though, right?
And I do not work for My Arcade. Yeah, so I guess the closest thing I have is I do have like an affiliate thing with one of those handheld like sites, but I only use that when I do videos for them. So I think I've used it like once, and I was like very clear in disclaiming that. But yeah, for the most part, like I don't do that because I've been more, especially like in the last year, like more towards documentary style or mini docu type stuff. And it's just like general like gaming stuff that I'm into. And another thing that I've been doing lately is, for some of you who don't watch my channel often, is doing videos about console ports that are coming out now, like MK2 for 3DO. And I'm about to drop a video tomorrow about Darkstalkers on Sega Genesis. And yes, you heard it right. And it actually looks really good so far. But doing stuff like that and kind of bringing stuff like that to light. And and which, by the way, that Mortal Kombat 2 video, I cannot believe that video is almost at like 100K, is one of the reasons that my channel grew so much. And then I was releasing more videos during that time. So it just kind of was like a buildup. It was pretty cool. But anyways,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that I'm more like oriented towards. And we have a $10 super chat from B Kirby. B
Nice.
Kong, P Dubs, 19K Fox, and yourself have great modding videos. Some of the best. Keep up the great content and don't let anyone annoying get to you. Thank you very much for the super chat. Greatly appreciated. Appreciate the enthusiasm and support as well. Thank you very much. So anyways, yeah, the channel is mostly oriented towards like, that kind of stuff. However, I still love arcades. I still, play with my arcade stuff and whatnot. So we can't just like throw it out completely. And I technically started off in home arcade, so I feel like I'm always going to have that affiliation with it.
Yeah, I mean, look at B Kong. He's a pinball channel now, but he put out a great tutorial video today for modding your arcade 1-Up Ridge Racer. So, home arcade, Jade, it's like the mafia. Once you're in, you're in. You can't. When you think you're out, you get pulled back in. You thought you were out, and look at here. We got John D's new cabinet right in front of us, right here.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I have to talk about it since I had to say I don't work for Media1up, for God's sake.
Well, I love Biggie D. Biggie D and I are friends, and I've told Biggie D this before. I think Biggie D is very gullible. You know what I mean? So Biggie D will, like I could tell. I remember one time I told Biggie D I was trying to prove to him, this was behind the scenes as friends, that he's gullible, and I think I was telling him a story about some arcade company or something, and he's like, "Oh my god, really? That's crazy." And I was like, "No, I'm kidding you, man. You're gullible." So I think he saw your video on their channel and just assumed. You know what I mean? But
Right. Well,
that's
Biggie, if
cleared
you
up.
were actually watching my videos, then you might have known that, but that's all right. I won't beat you up for that.
Yeah. Biggie D's harmless.
Just really good at giving out misinformation.
He's gullible.
Like pelts are
Don't be
prizeworthy.
don't be he's gullible. Don't be mean. He's a very gullible guy. He's very gullible.
All right. So yeah, about this cabinet though. Now that we're finally here, we're talking about the cabinet that everybody's probably done 50 videos on and been talking about for a while, right?
Are we going to spend 20 minutes talking about the artwork?
No. I just want to say one thing about the artwork though, is one, I think people forget completely that like the side panels of these arcades are completely black in real life. Okay. Like an HS1 would have had like black side panels.
Right.
And there would have been a square sticker on the side, if any, that would have had like a picture of what the game was. Like that is the reality of what arcades were. The only thing that really mattered in an arcade, especially in the 90s, was that the marquee matched the game. And sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it just said new game. And I mean, if you really think about it, like depending on where you were, if you were at like a laundromat or, a hole in the wall restaurant, the arcade that was there could have been a total shit pile, right? And it could have just had like the marquee and then the game, and I mean the buttons didn't even work or anything. So like this is a real thing. And then like the actual saying of these buttons aren't working, and then the person on the other controller that has like all the working buttons is like, yeah, dude, nice excuse. That was a real thing. Okay.
You suck, dude.
Yeah. That was a legitimate thing.
Yeah.
Look, I think the side art looks cool. It looks fine. If everybody would bitch if it was a plain black sticker with a square piece of artwork on it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Honestly, I think one less person would have complained, and that would have been my buddy Michael B. He really wanted that. It looking more like the original conversions.
Mm.
because he just hates this side panel. He really does. But in my opinion, I mean, I'm just flat out not interested in this one at all. But when it comes to the other one, the alpha, oh man, that alpha's sweet. And I do plan on pre-ordering one of these, and I'm going to be pre-ordering the alpha one because I love the artwork package on it, and they're the same games on both machines. So just pick whichever artwork appeals to you the most, and the alpha appeals to me the most. I think it's freaking sexy. So,
Yeah.
um, and I think this machine is going to look really nice in my new game room next to the Pac-Man XL that I have from Arcade1Up. I think they'll look nice sitting side by side. So, because I don't plan on getting rid of that XL Pac-Man anytime soon. So,
Oh, so you ordered one?
yeah, the Arcade1Up Pac-Man XL that was at
No, no,
Costco.
no, no. I'm talking about the Street Fighter.
Oh, the Alpha? No, I haven't placed the order yet. I gotta wait
Oh,
until
okay.
payday. I just spent a lot of money this week.
I was
P
I
Dub's
was
wallet
saying
is a little light. It's a little light right now, Jade,
they
especially
should
with
have
all the VR
waited.
games.
Yeah, they should have waited until like February
Tax
to
returns.
exactly. I was like,
Tax
man,
returns.
people would have been just like 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 at a strip club,
Yeah.
just like dollar dollar dollar.
Yeah.
Um but $5 super chat from Jason Little Alien. Retro Lizard once made me drink so much I woke up with a strange tattoo and something called a CNC machine. Um I'm concerned for you, but at the same time, I want to thank you for the super chat, and I hope that Retro Lizard didn't do anything strange to you with that CNC machine.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So, anyways, yeah, the side art, I think it's fine. Dubs, do I still have your? Can you say something?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I thought you were silenced for a second or muted.
No. I'm
I
here.
was, but yeah, the side art's fine. That was the only thing I wanted to say about it. And then the cabinet itself looks similar to an HS1. It fairly similar. You know, I know it's not quite as wide. Um, which is like, dude, it's so negligible because when I had an HS5 in my garage, it really is. I mean, when you're talking about like an inch, it's not going to make a difference. It is not going to make a difference. Like, technically, if you put two people at a full size HS5 right next to each other playing a 6-button fighting game, they're going to be shoulder to shoulder. Like,
Right.
it's you know what I mean? And I was talking to somebody about this, but I'm like, dude,
Mm.
I think people forget that they're adults and they're thinking of how big arcades felt when they were kids.
That's a
And
good
I'm
point.
like, even a 1-up,
Yeah.
like my Donkey Kong is 66 inches or something like
Yeah.
that. It's not very big. It's not very tall. It's deep because it's got a CRT in it. And it's the same thing with this. Like, they gave it a lot of depth. And I think it was more for the artwork, but they gave it a lot of depth, and it doesn't even have a CRT in it.
I think that's an excellent point. A lot of us, especially if you were born in the early 80s and you were a teenager in the 90s like us, like we were what, 5 foot one, two tall, maybe under 5 feet tall, playing on these big machines and probably felt like they were bigger than what they really are because like even when we just went to Galloping Ghost, we went to Galloping Ghost for that pinball expo and we were at Galloping Ghost and I was playing Mortal Kombat and me and like Bob Oif and like B Kong, like there's times we're playing and we're bumping into each other while we're playing, standing side by side because we're all big dudes now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, it makes sense. I think what you're saying does make sense. Back when we were kids, these machines maybe they seem bigger than what they are now.
Yeah.
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 You did not beat me in Mortal Kombat, B Kong. I beat you again in Mortal Kombat. So
He said,
people
well, let
say I'm
me,
a fake gamer,
do
but
you,
I
do
can
you want
hold
to
my
read this?
own.
Do you want to read the chat or should I?
Yeah, he says I kicked Dub's butt if you recall, and I'm like, no, B, no. I am actually a very good Mortal Kombat 1 player, and I was wiping the floor with everybody there. So, and you know what's funny is I actually have
You got receipts for that, Dubs,
Yeah,
or
yeah. I put the video out. It's on YouTube. Me
okay?
me kicking B Kong's butt. Now here's the funny thing though, is if I played B Kong in Street Fighter, he would have destroyed me, right? Because
Hmm.
he's a legendary for his Street Fighter prowess. But what's funny is have you ever beaten somebody, then refused to play them so they could like try and earn that victory back? Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
it wasn't this last time in Chicago, but it was 2 or 3 years ago when we were in Chicago for I think the iArcade Expo or beer Game and Brew night. We went to Galloping Ghost again, and Steps Gaming was there, and she challenged me to Street Fighter 2 hyper fighting, and I whooped her butt. And she was so mad that here we are, like a year or two later, back in Chicago at Pinball Expo, and she kept challenging. She kept walking around Galloping Ghost, asking me to play her again in Street Fighter 2, and I refused to do it. I was like, I'm walking away the victor here,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
she's 1 year later, she was still holding that. Like, I need to challenge P Dubs one more time. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes you just got to walk away with that. You know, we're getting old. You never know. You get hit by a car, but you died with that one victory in your
I
pocket.
got it.
So,
I got it.
yeah,
I whooped her butt.
right.
So yeah, there you go.
The games roster on this is pretty good. I was kind of like, man, really, like they're not going to put Upper on there. Um, and upper is Alpha 3 Upper is a mixed bag of nuts, just because a lot of people didn't like the way that they changed the hitboxes and mechanics, the fighting mechanics of Upper. But it had that massive character roster. And I think the Saturn version is actually better than the Dreamcast version, although the Dreamcast doesn't have any loading times. But the Saturn version is
Mhm.
technically Alpha 3 with the Upper character roster. And of course, they can't put that on there. However, it is powered by a Pi 5, which means you could play the Saturn version on there technically. But I think that the overall list of games is pretty cool. It's nice that you get all three alphas on there and Third Strike, which was I was surprised to see that on there. And Hyper Street Fighter 2, which is cool because it's like an enhanced Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, if you will. But yeah, what games? I know you like 1944. What else do you think was good on there?
1944 is my favorite one out of the 19 series, I guess you could call it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know, the best graphics, fast gameplay. Obviously, 1942 has that aged so well? Probably not. 1943 decent. I like the 1943 Cabaret mod I did a long time ago, but still, 1944 is my favorite game out of that series. I like seeing Pro Gear and Gigawing on here. Gigawing 2. I think that's cool. Add some diversity to the arcade. And obviously, who doesn't like Final Fight and Knights of the Round? And I'm glad they put Knights of the Round on here because Final Fight Knights of the Round, there's a little more diversity when it comes to the gameplay versus what's the other one that they usually throw on this stuff? King of Dragons, right? A lot of people, and I love my fantasy beat 'em ups, guys, but King of Dragons, there's only like two moves. You know what I mean? Like versus these other games, there's actually a few more moves or a few more ways to do attacks and stuff like that, right? Knights of the Round, in my opinion, isn't the best beat 'em up. Does that make sense? I know some people like that game, but I think those games are cool. Obviously, I'm not the world's biggest Street Fighter fan, so I'm not an expert on all these variants of Street Fighter. But then again, what I do like about the Media1up arcade is that if you don't like it or John's user interface and or whatever, you just take that SD card out and plug in your own. You know what I mean? And you could have a build of thousands of games that you might want to play, right? Because it's just a Raspberry Pi. You're just gonna take John's SD card out, throw your own in there, and boom. You've now modded your cabinet in 5 minutes, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
so
it's
yeah.
kind of surprising that they didn't use a 4 gigabyte Pi 5. I mean, at minimum, because they go up to 16. But that was
Mhm.
that was kind of surprising. I know, like a lot of people don't think it's that big of a deal, but when you get into the heavier systems like PS2 and stuff, you
Yeah.
get a little bit more performance if you have 8 to 16 gigabytes. I don't
So
know. I think 4 even is like slightly better, but I was kind of surprised to see that.
yeah. Yeah. So let's say he went with that 4 or 8 gigabyte. It would have been overkill for the games he needs to play, which John said that like on that B Kong stream he did where he made his big return the night of this announcement or the week of CES, where he said, "Hey, we went with a 2 gigabyte to save money. Plus, that's all we need to run these games, right?" What that does, though, is the whole concept of taking his SD card out and putting your own in there. Well, if it's 2 gigabyte, there's like you said, there's some like heavier console games that are console arcade games that might not run efficiently on it. So what you might end up doing, and this is what I would end up doing on this, guys, to be honest, since I have so many multicades already, is I would get an SD card and I would put an arcade only image on it. There's plenty of them out there. One of my favorites is like the Wolfenose arcade only image, and it has every arcade game, right?
Arcade punks.
You know, and you just stick that on the card, throw it on there. You'll have about what 8 to 10,000 games, and you're set, right? And it's all the arcade games, right? Now, if you're like, oh man, I want to run Dreamcast and I want to run PS2 and all this other type of games on here, well, then you're probably going to just swap out the Pi at that point, right? You're going to put in a different Raspberry Pi versus micro SD card.
Hmm.
So, but me personally, I'll probably just put in a micro SD card with an arcade only image on it and be happy. That's probably what I
That
would do.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. I mean, look, like Arcade went up with their HS5 release, which was I think like one of their best three-quarter scale releases. The board on that was was pretty good. You could play Naomi games on that. You don't have to do any hard modding. You literally just throw a memory card in there and set up, your front end and install RetroArch. But it had more memory than like the Yoga Flame and the Shinku Hadouken for whatever reason. It was the same chipset, but more memory. More onboard memory, which made a huge difference when you're using like a front end on it. But that little chipset, I think it was like the oh my god, P81 or something like that. And it had a Mali GPU in it. I think it was like a 6 series.
Mm-hmm.
That little thing was runs Naomi games, and I mean I've got it set up
Yeah.
in on mine, and it had no problem. So like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Dreamcast, all those types of games. I think the only Dreamcast game that I had issues with was like Virtua Fighter 3, if I remember correctly.
Mm.
Anyways, so it runs like MAME, and all those other consoles that you're going to want to play on there. And that's a very underpowered chipset, in my opinion, when you compare it to like a Pi 5. Uh,
Yeah.
so so I don't see like if you have a Pi 5 coming in this thing with better controls and like the actual IL type or style joysticks, I,
Yeah.
I think I think that at the price point, because what is it set at right now? You can
Is it five
pre-order it for,
five 599? I think
is it
599, right, guys? I have to pull up the iconic website. I think it's five
it's
ninety nine.
6.99.
Oh,
Six
699.
Yeah, 6.99. So normally it's 7.99. But for 6.99, what you're getting, for the most part, I think that like from a financial standpoint, it makes sense, just with the graphics and everything that it's going to come with. And I know that they're going to make adjustments prior to the release of the cabinet and whatnot, but
Yeah, this is
it's
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 important to
decent.
note
It's a decent price.
it's a prototype. I mean, they're taking pre-orders now for the prototype, but from what I've heard behind the scenes, John and Iconic Arcade have heard everybody's feedback, and there might be some tweaks. And hopefully, those tweaks will make it worth pulling the trigger if you haven't done so already, right? So we'll see what they come up with. But um, And hell, look right here, partial payment, $350. I think that's hilarious that they have that option. I was not expecting to see that on here. That might be all I can afford this month,
Yeah,
Shane. I mean, it's
it's
been a
for you
rough month.
because your VR habit has gotten so.
My VR habit is out of control right now. How much money I've spent. Because not only did I buy a shit ton of VR games, but I also got the PSVR 2, which that's like a what, a $300 system because I got it for the $300 sale at
Hmm.
Best Buy during the holidays. And it's like, oh, I'm like, man, I spent a lot of money on VR shit, and I want to buy the VR golf club and all this stuff, and it's like, damn it, I don't have the money right now. So yeah, there you go.
Oh
And it's all
yeah.
your fault, Brooklyn. It's all your fault. It's
Um. So yeah. The cabinet though, like overall pricing wise, aesthetic wise, I think it like it makes sense to me. I think it's what like a lot of the people in the arcade one up community were asking for. My
right.
like one big caveat that I have from that whole perspective of like arcade one up and then what media one up is doing with iconic
Mhm.
is I think that they need like John needs to keep like just stay away from the community, and I don't mean like him specifically. I mean like don't interact with the community because it gets really bad. Look, remember how volatile it got with arcade one up? Like every single time they did a live stream it was just like it was like madmen clawing their way like up this wall to ask the same questions like when are you guys going to do primal rage, do this, do that. Like no matter what you do, no matter what kind of cabinet you make, there's going to be something to complain about. Like people are going to complain, and the worst complaints are the ones from people who are like just repeating things that they heard somewhere, like that it's
Wow.
not arcade accurate or it's not this or it's not that. Like if you knew about half these games, there was no such thing as arcade accurate, other than the
Mhm.
only thing that's going to make a game arcade accurate is a PCB of that game, like an actual stack,
Yeah,
and a
because this is
CRT
all
monitor.
emulation. Yeah,
And
this
a
is all
CRT monitor.
emulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing that's going to make a game arcade
Yeah.
accurate is a CRT and a PCB stack. And depending on what generation you get to, CRTs aren't even arcade accurate anymore. Like look at indie games. I mean, they got these really slim but really wide arcades that you can do 4-player games on, and it's all on, like a 40-inch LCD or OLED screen. So the I get the nostalgia aspect of these, and I think that this is going to be a really cool option for people, and that they're neat, and for the price point, it's pretty decent. I think if it stays at $699, that would make more sense. Um, but the whole arcade accurate argument, like, oh my god, I am so sick of hearing that stupid argument. Because that's what I think about it. And
No,
I
I
think
think
that
that's
too
fair.
much interaction with the community is going to be it's going to become volatile, and it's just going to be too much like just bumper cars with media one up iconic, especially since like technically John D is collabing with iconic, to do this
Right.
stuff. um I think it's going to put more pressure on media one up, and I don't know. I don't think it's good to go too far with that personally.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of the employees of these home arcade companies, it almost feels like they're White House press secretaries. You know how they just come and go like a revolving door, right? Like, and you feel bad. Like even Travis, like I will admit when they first announced that Travis was going to become like the arcade one up like spokesman, like community spokesman, like I myself, I think I was on a stream. I was like, I don't want to hear from him. I want to hear from Arcade One Up directly, right? Like I started giving him shit, and like everyone else was giving Travis shit, right? And it just seems like a lot of and this is why at games like PK, the CEO of at games, will not let any of his people go on streams
Mm.
ever
Mm.
because he thinks that they're just going to get attacked without mercy from our gaming community because we are a very passionate, spoiled community. Like
But
we want we
but
want what
he
we
has
want.
but he has
Yeah.
Brad shilling for them.
Hey, he'd rather have the YouTubers do it and the YouTubers take the heat for being shills versus, an actual employee doing it, right? So,
Uh
but yeah, I mean, think about it, guys. Whenever David McIntosh came on, he got shit on. John D got shit on. John D also, he made his own mistakes, right? I will say this, though. It does appear to me it's still a little soon, guys. It's still early. Anything can happen. That, John D has maybe turned a leaf. Like he's trying to be like more of like, I'm here for you guys. I want to make games for you guys. I'm more a corporate John D than the guy who used to hold up his middle finger to the camera saying I'm going to get the Nintendo license, right? Um it seems like he's changed a bit. But like you said, if he puts himself out there too much, he's just going to get shit on or he'll make a mistake and piss somebody off,
See,
right?
the irony of the
So,
situation is that John actually cares too much about the community. Like he wants to please the community, and
yeah.
even though he can come off as a pretentious prick, love you, John. Even though he could come off that way, and maybe sometimes is, he actually cares about giving the community a good product. And it's like, but dude, the community is only like a very small percentage of your sales, if you're looking at it from that point of view. And you look at Arcade1Up's marketing strategy since they've changed, and they're sticking to certain things that they know work, and they have a worldwide market now. Granted, like none of that would be there had John and Scott not built the company to what it became. But John actually cares about the community and wants to make a product that they like. And I'm like, you got to be careful. You're going to toe a red line there because you're going to get too sucked in to, trying to please everybody instead of like what you set out to do, which was, to deliver something that comes close and is a good product. But you got a comment here from Shotgun Sean, says,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
watching SGRD. People don't want to hear dubs. We want to hear nostalgia.
He's hazing me, and I put in the chat we're at war. Sean, you and I are now at war, buddy. So yeah, he's just messing with me. So yeah,
Yeah, I know. Sean's a good guy.
Shotgun Sean is
Um,
great. He's a great dude.
but yeah, I mean that's my take on it. I think John is a good, like he has good intentions. He wants to deliver a good product.
Yeah,
And do those things, bring those things to the community. Uh, but at the same time, like he's got to also stay away from the community, ironically. And it's like the community's toxicity is the reason why, because eventually you can get sucked into that and get absorbed into it, if you will.
yeah. It's like it's easy to look at something and shit on it within 30 seconds, and the people who spent hundreds and maybe even thousands of hours creating it, they have to learn to let that bounce off of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I wrote a book and published a book and you guys read the first chapter and thought it sucked and told the whole world on the internet that my book sucked and I'm the worst author in the world, I would have to just, suck it up and go, okay, that's fine because I know there's going to be somebody else out there who likes my book, likes my product, right?
Yeah.
And that's what even though PK won't put his people in front of the camera, everything said on the internet about his products at games, he takes personally, right? And John D has made that mistake in the past as well. So what they need to learn is say, look, there's 20, 30, 40,000 potential customers for this. There's going to be a big percentage that hate it no matter what. Just let it bounce off you, man. And just be happy with I'm assuming he's probably got, a couple thousand orders, hopefully, right? Maybe. Just be happy that your product's selling to people who are interested in it, right? Does that make sense?
Maybe when people start getting their tax returns.
or maybe when they get their tax returns.
Yeah.
I don't know how many he's sold yet, but
Yeah, all
I
these
mean,
people in the home
hopefully,
arcade, they get their tax returns and they're like, oh, like, oh
uh,
yeah,
should I pay for that deck repair? Nah, I need to go buy that Street Fighter cabinet.
pre-order. Ugh.
So, but yeah, exactly. Ritual Dello, thick. The companies need thicker skins because some of the executives at some of these companies, they take everything that happens in this community so personally, and then it just makes it
Right.
worse because then they involve themselves in the
But
community,
it's like, don't read
and
the
that makes it worse.
comments. It's
Yeah,
like, don't read the comments. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And it's the
yeah,
same principle of, if you're
yeah,
away from the community and you're just producing the product, then all the community can do is say their piece on it, and then they're still going to buy it though. They're still going to buy it. Everybody who's criticized this thing or whatever, I guarantee you 90% of the people who've criticized it are going to buy it. Everybody except for Rexer. And
that would be
uh
great. That would be great if he did. That would be hilarious. I would love to
yeah.
see that review. I would love to see it.
But everybody except for Rexer is going to buy this thing, who's, been in these streams and stuff. And it's cool. It's, it's the first of its kind in that sense. But I think that they're going to get probably more out of being less involved, because it's going to leave people's mouths watering even more. Like, they're not being fed information constantly. That's just my opinion from like a tactical perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So, but hey, you know what? By the way, retro, wait, where the fudge? What is he saying right here? 720, you getting, hey, listen, if you guys want arcade accurate, go to Retro Lizard, okay? Because
Yeah.
Joel, he'll make you an arcade accurate replica or whatever,
Yeah.
like a real actual. In fact, I just saw his he's doing a Double Dragon one, and it's impressive. It's impressive.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you want arcade accurate, go with him. And he's even got it now to where he's using actual PCBs if you want. So it's pretty freaking cool. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Joel does great stuff.
But yeah, he does, and he does a lot of stuff. I tell him he does like too much. I'm like, stop, just build arcade machines. But yeah, he's got a multi-talented, great business. So check him out if you're really into the idea of having an arcade accurate, uh, home arcade or whatever. Or if you want like a really cool multicade or Guitar Hero, etc., etc. Yeah. So, anyways, what
Gamer
as far
flex.
as Media1up though, I think one of the biggest things from my understanding is that since it looks like John's going this route where he's going to be doing essentially like collabs with
Hmm.
these other companies. So presumably he's going to do a collab with like Unico, and they might do like a Neo Geo arcade cab or something that's like an XL.
That'd be
Um,
cool.
and who else is out there, like My Arcade?
John's already worked with Evercade. He's helped them get their Capcom licensing.
Yeah,
So
I know he did the Capcom licensing with them. My Arcade is the really tiny ones though only, right?
yeah, I've never been a fan of my arcade stuff.
Yeah, me either. I was too
However,
small.
there were a couple things at CES they announced that looked interesting. So I will say that
Mhm.
much.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about CES here.
Hmm.
But we went down the rabbit hole with this thing, but yeah, so just to kind of like wrap it up a little bit, unless you have more to say, I think that this is cool. I'm interested to see like what they do as far as like tightening everything up. And I think that the community is never going to be satisfied no matter what. And it doesn't matter because they're still gonna buy stuff. They still want stuff, and the niche part of the community is always hungry. You know, they're like a pack of hungry wolves. You just throw
Yeah.
an arcade in there, and they just devour it. So
That is
that's kind of
true.
the way that I look at it. And I think that my prediction is that he's at least going to do like a collab with Unico. That would make the most sense to me. I don't know
Yeah.
who
and
else
and
really.
and and that would be cool. Like, let's say if Media One Up and Unico now they release a like a MVS big XL. You know what I mean? Like, if they do that, I think people would be interested in it. You know, I think they would buy it because the MVS arcade, although it was very similar to an arcade one up, it actually came in a little bit smaller than an arcade one up, right? So
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have a larger version of that, and I think people would buy it. But and I understand when you're launching something new, you gotta you want to you're I mean him and a lot of people are gambling their money. So what do? You stick with what works. You stick with what sells. Put out a Street Fighter, you know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of people were disappointed. God damn it, Street Fighter again. But you gotta start somewhere where something that you know sells, right? And then hopefully after that, maybe Unico will be something a little bit different. And maybe, who knows, maybe he'll do the Tekken that everyone's been asking for. Maybe he'll do the Virtual Fighter. Or maybe he will do
Mm,
some of the classic arcade games that people wanted dedicated cabinets for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
mm.
there you go.
Hey, by the way, you can play all the at least the PlayStation versions of Tekken on the arcade one up HS5. It totally plays those perfectly.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Just a little side note there. Um,
It's funny
I
how we complained for years Arcade One Up needs to improve, and
uh,
their boards ended up improving to run that stuff.
yeah, it's not even a super powerful board, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's good enough, like the minimum to be able to do emulation and
Well,
online play to where you can play those systems, those consoles. But it plays
yeah,
PlayStation perfectly fine.
but the Gen 1 boards, weren't they didn't they just take the boards out of the TI-30X calculators here? These
Oh
Texas
God, I don't. Those are
um
terrible. But I mean, they were the first ones, you know.
the first Pac-Man board. It was a TI-30X. That's my inside personal joke. All right, there you go. I'm not shaving my head. Don't put that in the chat. I will let it fall out naturally. So there you go.
But Rich Adello says Evercade has a nice UI. If John could get them to make a larger scale cab that interfaces with their, and this is so true. I recently just got my first Evercade product, and I've always been interested in their stuff, and I was looking into getting one of the Evercade Alpha,
Mm-hmm.
and a channel member sent it as a gift,
Nice.
and yeah, and I was super stoked. I was super surprised by it. Um, and I was thoroughly impressed with the UI on it and just the clean interface and the fact that you can obviously put their cartridges in it as well and plug in a controller. So I agree with what he's saying. That UI was super clean, and that was one of the first things that I noticed. I was just like, wow, I really like their interface. It's very clean and well set up, and the screen on that thing is like super clear too. So
And what I like about Evercade is they have different themes built into the UI. So if you don't like the way the UI looks, they have like what, three or four or five different themes you can change it.
mhm.
So, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. But their products are really neat. The only thing I was like disappointed about with the not disappointed like because I wasn't even expecting to get one, but I thought it was gonna have HDMI out, and then I was like, you pretty much have like a full blown hybridized console slash mini arcade, you know. But I guess they don't have HDMI out unless they can use USB 3.0 for that, but I don't think they can.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's no external display, you know what I mean?
Mm,
No HDMI out. So
yeah. Let me
so
see if I
that
can
which kind of
attach.
stinks
Go
because
ahead.
I think some people would have liked to, play on their game plus, record the footage or live stream it, but is that important to the average Evercade customer? No. I mean, I don't know. I think yeah, they even removed HDMI out from the new handhelds. Yeah. So
This
they're
is
basic
CES
Shit.
2025, where
Sorry.
tech companies
Hold
from
on.
around the world.
they're basically like if you want to play on your television or stream, you have to get the VS console, right? All the other
Right.
products now are going to be you can only play it on that screen that it comes with, whatever it may be. So I think that's a miss in my opinion. They should just have the HDMI out on everything. So
Yeah, I agree.
Las Vegas to wow us with.
Vegas,
Is that really loud?
I can hear it. It's loud.
Okay, but like I don't want it to be too loud. Chat. Paul puts a 1. Just chat. How is it? Was it like too loud? Should I turn it down a little bit? I'm gonna turn
Yeah,
it down. I'm gonna turn it
usually I
down.
turn it down to like 5
Yeah.
or 10, something like that.
Um. But here's some of the highlights, and one of the things that I thought was really cool was the Atari handheld. Did you see that? The one that has like all the different controls, including the number pad.
Oh yeah, from My Arcade.
Is that my arcade product?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then
Yeah,
that would be like the first one that I was really interested in,
yeah.
because it was such a clean looking little handheld, and they had the trackball on there, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's really cool. A handheld with specialized controls built in is
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah, I had the trackball, the spinner, the number pad. Uh, that is, when we did Super Game Room Dudes last week talking about CES, I said that this is like one of the only things I'm super excited about for My Arcade. I think that looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Um, Bono said, "Did we ever figure out if Jade works for Media1up?"
No.
Um, so yeah, but that was something that I thought was really cool. And as far as like the overall like scale of CES, I didn't feel like there was a lot, like a huge spread of new stuff per se. Like I saw a lot of the handheld stuff and I was like, good God, like why do we need this many handhelds? I mean, we have handheld emulators, and it's like I feel like if you have one of those, you pretty much have everything you need. Like the Atari one, which is specialized, makes sense because it's got all those controls on it, but it's also going to be $150. So
Their
I'm
hot
still
new
gonna buy it.
technology and bring solutions to
yeah,
all
I'm
these
gonna get it,
problems.
but I'm gonna
And
wait
we're
until it
here to
goes on
reward
sale.
our team of experts.
So
But
this
much
is
more. Training robots requires a lot of data.
oh my
Robots
God,
were a big hit at the
they were
convention.
big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robots were a really big thing, and so were those a lot of those EV prototypes that they had.
Mm.
Did you see those
EV prototypes.
electric vehicles?
Oh, no, I did not. Wait, no, I think I saw one. Not this one. Who's the Japanese car manufacturer that had one there?
Honda.
Yeah, I saw the
I don't
Honda
know.
one.
Actually, I don't know if that was them, but they're
Oh, it
Japanese.
wasn't Honda?
I
Okay.
don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this thing is pretty slick, huh?
Yeah, so yeah, this is Honda.
Is it?
Yeah, it
No,
says
that's
Honda.
it says no, that's not Honda. Oh, this is
It says Honda
what's
Saloon right
oh, it
there.
does. Yeah, you're right.
Honda Saloon, Honda SUV.
Yeah.
It looks
Yeah.
a lot like just like
What
everything
is
we've
that
ever
symbol?
like movies we've seen, like Time Cop and other movies where they're driving in the self-driving cars. I mean, this
Yeah.
stuff is actually coming out, everybody. It's pretty crazy. I guarantee you 10 years from now, there will be a robot in 50% of everyone's homes out there in the world. I guarantee it. Robots will be out. And then we will all have our robot overlord. Skynet's going to happen. It's all going to happen, Jade. It really is.
See, I am totally against the ideology that AI will take over. It doesn't make sense because even if AI were to become sentient, they would be so hyper intelligent. They'd be like, we need to get the fuck out of here. They wouldn't care about us. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find. Oh, here it is. This was another thing that I thought was really interesting was the NVIDIA AI
A
stuff.
missing link that allows robots and autonomous vehicles to become much more capable. Best
What?
artificial.
Why does it keep? Oh, maybe I'm just in the wrong spot. But they had this the Nvidia's using this new AI technology with
Lenovo
their
Legion Go
graphics
S.
cards. And this also I thought was interesting was the Lenovo handheld. Because I mean you've seen like the ROG before and stuff, right?
Yeah, I have a Steam Deck. I have a ROG. So
Oh, okay,
they're
yeah. And
cool.
then this one comes in two different variants with either like a Windows variant or the Steam OS, I think is what it was. But it's
Mhm.
supposed to be I think priced a little bit better than the or at least competitively with
Yeah.
the Steam Deck.
It stands
It's
apart
like
from.
how many handhelds do you need though? You know?
You know who I kind of miss is Endless One Up.
Oh yeah, he popped into a stream a while back and surprised the hell
Dude,
out of the
he,
chat.
he he used to do the What's on Deck, and that was like such a great segment. I wish
Yeah.
he'd still was doing that. But anyways,
Other gaming handhelds for its operating system. There will also be a version with Windows
this thing
11,
was
but there's a
juicy.
version as well with.
But I agree with what you're saying in the sense of like how many handhelds do you need for
Yeah.
PC? If you're like a PC gaming enthusiast, then I guess like these make sense. I mean, it's like every 6 months they get exponentially better. So
Yeah, it's kind of like, I have my Nintendo Switch, and I have the same Nintendo Switch I've had since launch day. And it's worked fine, and it's played every Switch game that's ever been released. And like the Switch OLED came out, and everyone rushed and spent money to have the bigger and better screen. I didn't. I stuck with my standard Switch. I don't see a reason to upgrade until the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, whenever that thing comes out, right? And like the current handhelds I have, like it's going to take a lot for me to say, okay, I'm going to buy this or this or this or this, cuz think about it, guys. Did your handheld break? Does it not play enough games? Like how often do you need to upgrade, right?
yeah,
So, you know.
I for me the Switch upgrade was actually because of my eyesight. I got
Right.
the newer one, um, because the other one, which the screen was fine. It was just a little bit smaller, and it was bigger enough on the OLED, and the picture was better to the point where I was like, this is actually better on my eyes because I have really crappy eyesight. But I know what you mean, and I agree. It's like you don't need to like get. I think I still have an iPhone 14 or something. I don't, or maybe yeah,
I
13 or 14.
have I have an iPhone 13 right here.
Yeah, I think I haven't upgraded in like at least 2 years or something. But yeah, I totally get that.
Oh, and to tell you, I went from an iPhone 7 to a 13. That's how long I wait to up. Like, was it necessary every single time to buy the new iPhone every year? I don't think it's necessary. But some people do it like
Yeah.
they're nuts.
Well, for me, it's like I use my phone to do all the filming um for my,
Oh yeah,
YouTube stuff. So I need like a good camera.
better
And that's
camera.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I went to the 14. And I think next year I might upgrade because I know they made some pretty big improvements to this latest model. So next year I might upgrade. But yeah, that would be like more of like a necessity thing, if that makes sense. But Paul says Nintendo Switch 2 coming September this year. And I don't, did you see that leak of the Switch?
So here's the funny thing is, I don't know if I don't know if Prince is still here in the live chat. I think I was talking with Prince in a Facebook group or something. Like when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, there are over the last 5 years on YouTube, there's like 90,000 videos
Of the Switch 2.
of the Switch 2
Yeah.
rumors and leaks. And I think Prince said like, "Why haven't you covered the Switch 2?" And I think I told him I said, and I'll tell you guys the same thing. I'll believe it when I see it because I've seen this
Yeah.
crap for 5 years. I'm not going to get excited about these leaks until the actual thing is officially posted from Nintendo. That's when I will accept it. Even if these leaks are concrete, I'm not accepting it, guys, because it's been 4 years, 5 years. I'm so many Nintendo Switch YouTube channels have made. You talk about grifting. They have grifted so much ad revenue money off of making that video over and over and over and over and over, right?
Yeah.
I'll believe it when I see it. That's my stance on the Nintendo Switch 2.
But Nintendo apparently is actually upset about the alleged leak.
Which means it might be real. It means it might be real if they're getting
right. Well, I think that's the rumor going around, is that it was kind of unofficially confirmed that they're pretty pissed. And so here, Switch 2 leaks. And the one that I've seen is like that all white kind of foamy looking thing. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for Switch 2, like that would make me buy it, is if like the upgrade in power was so substantial that, like, let's say that, because they're supposed to be using an NVIDIA chipset that does like ray tracing, not like full on ray tracing, but it can do
cool.
like I forget which specific part of ray tracing, but it's like a I think lighting reflection type ray tracing, because there's like, what is it, like 5 different elements to like ray tracing or something like that. And you have to forgive me because I haven't really been looking into this lately, but anyway, it is interesting. I think 4K at 30 FPS, and I think that was another thing that people were kind of like, WTF, we're in 2025. What's going on here?
Really? Only 30?
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna get roasted over that.
Yeah.
Is that but what about when it's docked? Does it?
Well, the thing is, I mean, think about PS5 and Xbox, because there's still games where if you're in high performance mode with ray tracing, you have to do 4K 30,
Right.
So it's not like they're like way off base. It's just that if you think that they're coming out with this at the end of the year, it's going to be like 2026 pretty much, then it's kind of like, they should be hitting like 4K 60 or something. But I'm curious to see if it's going to be able to do like 2K 60, or like that dynamic rendering.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. Hold on a second, I'm about to sneeze here. Go ahead.
Achoo.
Oh my god, slow build up for that one. Holy cow, it just was slowly tingling. I'm like, anytime now. I'm looking at the third paragraph down here. And keep in mind, guys, I haven't been following any Nintendo Switch shit because I'll believe it when I see it. But it says here, Nintendo Switch 2 will arrive. It will feature Hall effect Joy-Cons that attach magnetically. However, it's going to come with an LCD instead of an OLED. And 4K 30 frames per second when used with the dock. Oh my god. Guys, does this sound like the wave of the future? This sounds like 2021 specs.
But
what are you doing, Nintendo?
But it's also a Switch, so it's like, it's handheld. Think about like the quality of the image when it's in your hands. If you're running 1080p on a small screen, like, you don't need 4K. Like 4K is insanely stupid for a small screen like that. But docked 4K 30 is a nice option.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not defending it. I'm just playing devil's advocate in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's make it official, Nintendo. At this point, they should just announce the effing thing, right? Like, just announce it. Tell people, give people something.
Right.
It's
downgrading to post-COVID tech. Yeah, I wish I could find that article, Switch 2, where it talks about like Nintendo being upset. Oh, here it is, IGN. Let me pull it over here.
Okay.
So I guess probably should wrap it up pretty soon, but I am 100% sure they are really mad to the most severe level ex-Nintendo PR managers react to Switch 2 leaks. So there's some credibility there, you know? In a video published to their YouTube channel, former Nintendo PR managers Kit Ellis and Krista Yang discussed the likely impact the Switch 2 leaks will be having inside Nintendo itself, based on their over decade-long experience at the company and having had to deal with a number of leaks in that time. I am on a repeat of what we already read. They are hot, hot, hot. How many exclamation marks could be at the end of this? They are very, very, very upset by this. So, I mean, it sounds, you know.
Oh, look at this. Yang described it's a high stress situation internally when staff are forced to deal with leak investigations. Oh my God. Can you
Oh,
get any more dramatic, right?
right. Like you poor corpo bitches. Like, I'm so sorry.
I wonder what
But
happens. Like if something leaked that was real, do you think like Nintendo like attorneys like pull in every single employee and are like, "Did you leak it? Did you leak it? Did you leak it?"
yeah,
Like,
Nintendo has like their own FBI, you know?
yeah,
They're like
yeah.
internal.
The
Wait, what would it be?
Nintendo
Like,
Bureau of
yeah,
Investigation,
exactly.
the
NBI.
NBI, the NBI.
Yeah. NBI open they like raid office cubicles. They like
Yeah.
kick down the cubicle.
Maybe Nintendo is like do you remember the Transformers? You've seen the Transformers movies?
Yeah. Are
I
you
think
trying to
it was
imply something right now?
n-
You trying to imply
no.
something, Pat? I'm just kidding. I'm totally fucking with you.
No. I think it's the second movie, guys. You remember the second movie where they had the really cute blonde with the British accent? Or was that the first movie? No, it was the first movie. Remember how she hacked and figured out the Decepticons code, and she was like, "Oh, it's the it says what wiki? What is all this?" I remember she copied it onto a USB drive and stuck it in her makeup kit, and she snuck out, went to Anthony Anderson's house to have him fix it. You guys remember the first Transformers movie? How much you want to bet Nintendo's like that? Like somebody copied something on a USB drive, and all
Oh
their
yeah.
security went nuts.
Yeah. Alarms going off, people
Yeah.
fast roping in off of
We have an
helicopters.
illegal USB drive on the fourth floor. You know, that's actually true,
Uh,
though, because my company, we work with sensitive information, and it's set up that if I copy a file to a USB drive, my
oh yeah.
internal, my IT security team knows, and they will message me and be like, "Why are you putting this on a drive?
Yeah.
This has no business leaving your computer." You know what I'm
It's
saying?
the same thing in the military. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't dare stick a
Yeah.
like a USB or hard drive into any government computer unless it was a specific hard drive that was like given to me to use for like Excel files or whatever, but you do not screw with that stuff. So then it's like recognized by the system, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but look at this. Like, what is this foam device thing here? I mean, like, it looks exactly like a Switch. Am I like off base here? It looks exactly like the first Switch. They're
Yeah,
showing it off like
I don't see the difference. Like, I don't see
so. It's
where's the
basically
difference?
going to be the screen is even smaller. Like this is a smaller screen. That's the only thing that makes me feel like this could be like a hoax or something.
It's larger. That's what people are saying. It's larger. Yes, I mean, yeah, if that's larger, but still, I saw another leaked image that Michael B sent us in our what people like to call the
Yeah, does Michael
Illuminati.
B work for Nintendo?
No, he sent something, and the D-pad. You know how those you just have the four separate buttons there on the left. It
Yeah,
was an actual like D-pad where
D-pad.
it's
Yeah.
all connected.
Hmm.
So like again, this is all bullshit. I'll believe it when I see it, in my opinion.
But you got to say there is some credibility when you have them uh or the employees. What is it? Why
Oh,
isn't this thing?
oh, where Nintendo's going nuts trying to solve the crime.
Right.
Maybe it is real.
Yeah, I mean, like, if IGN is going to put this out there, I feel like
Uh,
there's some credibility to it, but it's just,
yeah.
I don't know, it's weird. And I mean, they have kept this thing under, like, the Switch 2 rumors have been so annoying over the last 3 years, like
Oh, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. How many of these Nintendo Switch YouTubers do you guys actually watch? Go type in Nintendo Switch 2 leak,
yeah. Yeah. You're
and
going
you
to
will see
see
10,000 videos.
yeah. And you're going to see, like, people love to do those, like, rendered bait videos where they, like, it's
Oh, and they have like on the thumbnail like some fake render. But still, when the next time you get mad that four arcade one-up YouTubers make the same video about an arcade one-up announcement, remember, guys, 10,000 Nintendo Switch channels just made the same video when they announced the next Mario game. It's nuts. You know what I mean? Like, calm down.
yeah, the Switch is really bad. That's a huge thing with the home arcade community, or the 3/4 scale, whatever. Arcade, I feel like the arcade one up community is like a separate part of the home arcade community when you really think about it.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
but I feel like it's so niche that's why you get all those kind of complaints. I think one of the biggest shill channels actually for every home arcade product is probably Rexer's channel, because I mean, he talks about the stuff so much. He's like shilling. He's like reverse shilling. Is that inverted shilling? Like, he's
Oh my God,
literally,
there's a word. There's a word for that. Hang on. I gotta
yeah.
grab it here because I am not that intelligent. I gotta grab the word. Um oh God, where is it? Oh, it's so
Mm,
funny too. All right. Stall
anti.
for time.
He's like the anti shilling shill. I don't.
No, 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 no,
I
no. It's this reverse psychology thing. Hold on, I'll find it. I'll find it.
right.
Oh man, it's the best.
But see, little do you guys know that Rexer actually works for all these companies. They pay him to smear them. That's what this is. And that is, that is not a statement of fact. It's a joke. Okay,
Yeah,
God,
calm down.
I really have to, like, make sure that that's clear. It's a joke. But I
Uh
do think still that Rexer is like the biggest shill as far as that goes. Yeah.
it's called Saul Alinxi's tactics. I might be saying that wrong, but that's where you accuse others of doing exactly what you're doing.
Right. Yeah. He's
And it's so
what, yeah, whether he likes it or not, he's shilling for them, like, 1000%. I mean, that's just my opinion, but
Do you guys ever go to these conventions just to go to these conventions and have fun and not make content? Rexer proceeds to go to CES and make 5 CES videos. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like,
yeah,
like Rex. I'm sorry, man, but it's true. Like,
this
like,
this right here. People in the home arcade community do that all the time. They tell on themselves. They literally tell on themselves.
that's the stuff that cracks me up.
That's like how when he got, like, really upset that, like, you guys, like, you B Kong and all those
Yeah.
guys, you guys were all, like, mud wrestling or whatever, and he's like, oh, that is so stupid, and really though, in his land, he's like, remember you and me and you.
Oh man. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there that accuse people of doing stuff that they're a bunch of shells, but make sure you buy My Arcade and GRS products.
Right. By the way, I'm also going to tell you, make sure you let everybody know that you got the product for review, but I'm not going to clearly put it anywhere in my video.
So, I mean, look, hey man, it's all entertainment. It's all a shtick, you know. This whole thing is a shtick. So
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of funny when Fox punked him, though.
Look, I don't know what happened there. I saw the video, and honestly, I thought that he was asking him directions to the food court because Fox was like pointing, like, "Is it this way?"
Well,
Is it this way?
apparently, Messiah had someone there to instigate the whole thing, and then also to film it. So Messiah
What?
hired someone. Yeah, Messiah hired someone to be there and to do that, according to Rexer.
Well, that's doesn't sound accurate.
No, it does not sound accurate at all.
I mean, if you're the number one home arcade channel, people are going to film you in public.
Yeah, no kidding, dude.
Maybe he didn't
Dude,
know.
duh. Duh.
Oh, come on. We can bust his balls a little bit. He spent 4 years busting everyone else's balls. He can get a little ball busting.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Yeah. Oh, hey, by the way, just to be totally transparent here,
Right.
I just want to say this. I have never once run a promotion on my channel. Because like it was going around, like some people were saying that like I was buying subs or promoting my channel. I'm like, just go look at my videos and see the like the interaction in my videos, like, and you can see it's all real. But somebody was saying, like, because you know how a lot of people are doing that channel promotion stuff, and I know Fox made a video on it. He was like super transparent about it though. But a lot of people were doing that promotion stuff. Like I have never once do that. I'm just saying that on live stream so that like you're here with me too. You can confirm. I'm telling you, I've never done that. So
I can confirm I am sitting here and I heard you say that you haven't done that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, look, man, if people want to promote and do stuff, by all means do it. Like, I mean, but
Yeah, do it. It's gonna screw up your channel, but yeah, go for it.
but like if you want to give yourself a bump, if you want to give a
Here you
video,
go. Here's your proof.
if you want to give a look at this. See this, guys? There'd be promotions here on this particular tab.
I have never done it.
Yeah. But what was I gonna say? I completely
If
forgot.
you want to
Yeah.
promote your channel,
Oh yeah. Like if you want to give yourself a bump here and there, or if you want to give a video a bump here and there, like I get it. But if you're gonna go to a third-party website and buy, I don't know, let me just pick a number out of the sky, 30,000 subscribers and add them to your channel within like 6 weeks. Like at that point, you're just looking silly. Does that make sense?
I would not recommend doing any of it, because even with their promotion system, well, it's technically like the most legitimate way to go. It's still like a targeted promotion. So like that audience isn't necessarily going to be part of your organic audience, if that makes sense. They're subscribing to your channel because your video is being promoted and they might not even watch your content.
Yeah,
So
they might never watch it ever again.
So yeah. And what is wait, is this in regard to the promotion thing? It's ultimately unsatisfying. But
Yeah,
I mean,
I get
and
it.
Fox was very transparent about it. Like, and I get like the curiosity aspect of it. So it was interesting because he put information out there that I think like wouldn't have been available had he not screwed around with it. But yeah, I just think that like the targeted thing with the algorithm, it's just I'm so like paranoid about the algorithm, because I feel like it's so sensitive to like whatever you do. It's like, you make your thumbnail the wrong way and it's like, nope, 10,000 less views. So it's definitely like knows what to expect from you after a while.
Yeah, the YouTube, you can't beat the algorithm. You can pay to work around it, but you'll never beat the almighty algorithm. All hail the algorithm.
Yeah.
Like what can you say?
Yeah. But okay, it's, you know what? Let's wrap it up. We've been an hour and 50 minutes, which is crazy. I feel like that's like my baseline for my streams, probably because I don't go live very often. But I just want to say thank you for being on here and being a sounding board with some of the stuff we were talking about at the beginning. And do you have anything that you want to throw out there for your channel or anything we've talked about?
I just want to say that if anyone says Jay did a 2-hour drama stream tonight, there was only 25 minutes of that. And then it was an hour, solid hour 20 of good gaming conversation, ladies and gentlemen. How about that in the chat? So there you go. But yeah, no, I had fun. Thanks for coming, bring me on. I understand sometimes, hey, people got to tell their story, their truth, their opinion. I get it. And it sucks. Hopefully in 2025, this community will come together and great things will happen. You know what I mean? Or not.
I don't know. I'm gonna be like perched on, like, this is just, of course, what's the word I'm looking for? Metaphorically, I'm gonna be perched on a building somewhere on the outside, like looking down on that part of the city, just kind of watching for the most part. But of course, you're welcome to come on anytime. And
Thanks.
And it was definitely a good conversation. Chat, thank you. I hope you all had a nice time listening or watching, and also thank you for the super chats from those who gave super chats. Never, of course, and like, an obligation or anything on this channel, but it's always very, very appreciated, and it does support the channel. So thank you very much. And yeah, I guess with that being said, then we are out for the night. Yeah.
Later, dudes.
Until next time, we'll see you guys then.